Welcome to my channel. When I started out in astrophotography about 11 months ago, there was a few options to consider. Nina was one, Sharpcat was another, and there's a couple of other options like ZWO, ASI Air, but I went for Nina. So I thought this evening I would show you how I actually use it and how easy it is to get it set up. Not all the drivers, but just actually connect the camera, connect the equatorial mount and any guiding camera. It's currently raining outside, so I thought I would do this video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Nina in the simulator mode. It's a great feature that Nina provides. It really enables you to learn how to use the system without actually having to get all your kits set up. So we'll drop into Nina. Here we go. First of all, what we would do is we would load up EQ ASCOM driver, and this just links the software for an ASCOM driver to Nina. It links the mount to Nina, so it's just another bit of software that we need to load up, but because we're using the simulator we wouldn't actually need to run that. So we've just loaded up Nina, and this is the screen that you'd normally come into. It's equipment screen. I'm not going to go through all the terminals here. It's really just a short video to show you how easy it is to connect your camera, your mount and a guider, or use the direct guider within Nina to get it all connected up. Within this drop-down menu at the top here, we have various different choices, but right down the bottom we've got Nina Simulator Camera. So we've already got that highlighted here, and all we need to do is just click this power button here and we should get a pop-up message saying success. And that's exactly what would happen when we connect our camera. So it's all very easy. Tells you some information about it here. It's obviously just the simulator camera, but it gives you all the details about your camera in this particular screen. So that's how easy it is to connect the camera up. To connect the mount up, we just come down to the mount icon here, click on the mount. We're in the simulator mode, but we would be normally in the EQ mod, this one here, EQ mod HEQ5/6. That's my mount so that's what I'd normally be clicking on, but I'm going to be running the simulator. So if I just power that up, it should connect quite quickly. We get a pop-up message, we'll just close that, and it just shows that we're connected. So this is all the settings that you would see normally once you connect your mount. First thing I would do is set my mount to park, so when I want to return it to that position right at the end of the evening, it will just go back to its position that it started, and so I just click set, and that sets the actual park element for the end of the evening. Come down to the guider. Now within Nina we've got a direct guider, so we don't have to have a separate tracking camera. I don't know how it works, it's just amazing, it just seems to work. But by using a direct guider and not actually having a second telescope set up on your system, you can actually dither, which is absolutely amazing. I don't know how it does it, as I said. But what I would normally be using, I'd normally be using PhD2 with a separate telescope and a second camera to track the stars. But if you haven't got that set up, this direct guider works really well. And all we need to do is connect. Another success message pops up and we're connected. It shows here we're connected, and it's that simple to get your camera, your mount and a guider set up within Nina. So now we've got the camera, the mount and the guider set up, we need to be able to do a polar alignment, and it's very easy. We go into imaging and we go down to 3-point polar alignment. Now that is a plugin for Nina, but it's very easy. All we do is we go into plugins down the bottom here and we install the plugin. It's a free plugin, it's very easy to install. and it only takes a few minutes. It's not about installing the plugin, this is just about how we actually connect the camera up. So we come down to 3-point polar alignment. All these default settings work fine. The only thing I've changed here is I put 8 seconds each image will be taken for, and a gain of 275. All we need to do then is hit the play button here. Now this is a simulator, so it won't work, there's no camera there, but what it does come up, it gives you an azimuth error and an altitude error, and all we do is we tweak the knobs on our mount to get those as close to 0 as possible. It's that simple. Once we've finished, we just hit the stop button and the mount is polar aligned, and it just works. Now that we got the mount polar aligned, we need to select our subject that we're going to take images of. Now this is one of my favourite features within Nina. If we go to framing, we've got a choice here of putting whatever object, or whatever target I should say, into Nina. So let's go for the North American Nebula. So let's just go NGC space 7000. Now one of the things that I found an issue when I first started using Nina. If you don't click on this point here, it won't accept it. So you click on to the drop down that appears. That puts it into this area here. And all we do then is click load image. So we just get a timer on the right hand side here. We can stop it any time if we want to, just by hitting this bar. It says cancel. This will take a short while and we will have the North American Nebula right in the center of our screen. So now I have got my wheel on my mouse as a zoom, which makes it very easy, and there we go. Look how wonderful that is, and it gives us quite a large area because I've got the field of view set at 25, which means nice field of view. So this is, I find, so easy just to be able to zoom in, find a target and choose what area that you want to target. Now the camera parameters here, we've got a width set of 640 by 480. Now that's clearly not the size of my actual camera. I have the SV Body SV705C color camera, and my focal length of my SV Body scope is 448 after I've got the reducer, 0.8 reducer reduction applied. But my actual camera is around 3860 and 2160. It's more or less around, whoops, let's get that correct, 2160. It's more or less around those numbers, but let's just hit that and it brings it up. So that is the size of my camera sensor, and this is what I like about this. So we can move this about. We can use this slider here just to rotate. There we go, and we'll zoom in, and now I have, there we go. We need to use these sliders actually here to move this about. You can't actually, you think you'd be able to drag this, but you can't. You can only drag this area about by these sliders. There we go, nicely lined up. And that's all you do to be able to select your target by logging in to the name, and it gives you all the coordinates. It goes straight to it. It's very easy then. All we need to do is we can actually take that direct across into the sequence. We have a sequencing tab over here. So if we go add target to sequence, the latency sequence as we want, which is the very basic one, it's the most easiest one, and we come across into the sequencer tab. And it's very easy. All we do is put the number of images we want to capture in here. We'll say 120. We want to say we'll do 60 seconds. Put 60 in. There are light frames. We want to dither. So we're going to dither every second image. We've got a gain of 275 and an offset of 1. All set up. There's a few other settings on here that we can use. We haven't got a cooled camera. We're going to ask it to unpark the mount when we start the sequence. Meridian flip, we can say, right, we'll turn that on. We can't warm the camera because we've got no heater in the camera. And if at the end of the sequence, we can actually get it to park the mount. Remember I said right at the beginning I showed you how to park the mount on the mount element. That will take it back to that original position. We've also got some target options here, so we can slew the target. Once we start the sequence, we can center the target, and we can also start guiding. It will do that automatically. Now, this is another nice feature here. So this gives us where we are now, and this is the high point of the North American Nebula. So it was around about, if that's 1800, 1700, it was around about 1700 hours when the meridian, it was at its peak. So we're past the meridian, there's going to be no meridian flip for quite some time. So it's a nice feature, this. You can just look at this and you can see exactly how close you are and when the actual meridian flip would actually be required. So regarding planning, it's a great tool. And all we need to do to get this started is just hit the play button here and it will start sequencing. One other option we have before we actually start imaging, we can actually slew to this target location just by clicking slew and center. Now, as we said, this is a simulator, but it will load up the screen that you will see. It's just that it won't actually give you a particular image clearly because there are no images to be able to see. And so if I just click on slew and center, what we will appear is a little dialog box here. And what happens is you can see the actual target here logging on and redirecting the equatorial mount to go onto target. We'll get an error message in a minute purely because we haven't got any camera connected. But what this does do, we'll just stop that a second and just come up with an error. But what it does do, under the RA error and the deck error here, each time it takes an image and it plate solves, it will give you how much the error is. And that error then will direct the mount to make a correction, and each time it takes another image, it will plate solve again, and it will keep going until it actually gets it right bang in the center. Nothing to do, it's all automated, and it works really well. And before you know it, you're right in the center. At the same time, it starts tracking the subject. There's nothing to do, neither does it all for you, and it just works very well. Now we need to determine the actual position of the camera. Because we've got this particular profile here, we're not exactly sure on what the orientation of it is, but what Nina provides is this button here, determine rotation from camera. So all we do is we click that one button and it will actually plate solve, and it will show us actually the alignment of where the camera is set. If it's not in the correct position, all we do is make an adjustment on the actual telescope itself. We turn it until it's in the correct orientation that we actually need. We do our locking that up and it's all set. Now, I'm not sure exactly how well the simulator will work with this, but let's give it a try. So determine rotation from camera. It's going to plate solve. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but it'll be worth a try. In real life, what happens is it takes an image and it reproduces, it comes up with an error. But that's all we do, is we just click that one button there and it will reposition this in the exact orientation of the actual setting of where the actual camera is set up. All we're doing is rotating the camera basically to get this in the correct position. Right, we're ready to start imaging. So we go over to the sequencing tab. Now, we would normally leave these switched on, but we're in a simulate mode, so we're going to turn these off, otherwise we'll just get some errors. Just turn them off. We'll leave the guiding on because I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. If it produces an error, I'll just clear the error. But all we need to do now is, hit this start button here, and it's showing that we've started imaging down this bottom left-hand corner here. Now we have got an imaging button here, an icon, so we'll click on that and we'll click, this is the 3-point polar alignment that we're on, but we've got an imaging tab, or an image tab. What it produces, because there's no camera, it just produces this default image that it's got stored on its system. But the sequence is running. It's shown here, we're exposing 30 seconds for 1 minute. And what happens is it will count up and it will do 120 images. At the end of that, it will go back to the sequencing tab, whatever we've got along the top here, it will shut down and park the mount. And it's that easy. I can just go to bed, get up in the morning, and the mount will be parked. Well, the sequence has been now running for a few minutes. We're on number 3 of 120. Now, what we can do is, look, we can go up to this little tab here, and we can actually, when it's not running, we can actually cancel that. So let's just stop the sequence for now by hitting this button here. And if we want to delete this, we can just hit this delete button here, and it will send it to the recycle bin. But if you want to save this sequence, what we need to do is we need to hit this button here, and this will give you an option. It'll bring up, and we can actually save the sequence. Just put a file name in, it will drop it in here. I'm not going to do it because you can see all the ones that I've run here. I've got absolutely loads of sequences that I've done over the last 11 months. I've saved them all. It's very easy to go back to them, and you can recall these anytime. But what I am going to do now is just I'm going to clear this particular one. So we'll clear that, and it will just come up a message, sure, you want to lose these changes. Yes, we do. And it'll take us back to the main sequencing tab. We can actually open a target quite easily. So let's see if I can open one. I've done this one the other night, so I'll just click on this one and see if it opens it up okay. Here we go. And this is exactly what I was doing the other evening. I was actually on the North American Nebula. I was actually on 7000, and if we just go to here, it just shows exactly what we were just seeing, but that's just a coincidence that I was actually on that. So let's just close that one a minute and just see I'll open another one that I had. So let's just open another target, see what I've been up to. Let's go for this one here, just to see what this is. And it defaults to that. I wasn't exactly sure how that would work. I'm still learning. There's lots to learn on this stuff. I've never played with this before, but clearly it just goes back to the coordinates that we put in here. So it doesn't make much difference what you put in this when you've got the simulator running. And look, it's put a second one in up here now. So we've got two. There's two parts to this because that was it was a mosaic I was actually doing that particular evening. There was two images. So I'm not. I say it doesn't actually show it there. Has it got no, it hasn't even shown it here. So with a mosaic panel, if we just click onto an extra panel, it will just show you two panels, and we can just do a mosaic, and we can even have the other ones as well. You can produce as many as you want. But that's what I was doing the other evening. But because it's in simulator mode, it doesn't quite work the same. That's just how I had it. So that's a good overview, I hope, of how I use Nina. I will produce some other videos, hopefully, in the future to show you some other features that it produces, and hopefully a live demonstration in the future of me doing the polar alignment, and we see exactly the system running with the system live, hopefully in the near future. I hope that was helpful, and I wish you clear skies.